guys, and we are back with another episode, show, topic, discussion, whatever you want to call it. Welcome back to the Dr. Natalie Show. It is a beautiful Tuesday, regardless of where you are and regardless of what the weather's like, because today is another day that you get to actually co create whatever you desire. So, as you know, I love to talk about co creation. I love to talk with people who are actually doing something, creating something, who live their passion, who like to, how should I put that? Break the rules a little bit. Just had a fascinating conversation earlier today with a sister of mine, so to speak. And it was fascinating because we went around a couple of items, and what we came back to is, of course, my brand, which is revolutionary. And we didn't start out there. Now, this guest today may not consider herself a revolutionary, but I do. So, without any further ado, I'm going to bring in Denise O'Malley. Hey there.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, right?
I know. It's kind of crazy. It's early morning for you, midday
Yes.
for me. And I know we always have some people out in India and Australia as well. So we are literally all over the place. Now, Denise, for some reason, this past week I've been talking about the weather. I'm looking outside. And there's a reason I'm going to ask you this question before I let you talk a little bit about yourself. What's the weather like where you're at?
Well, beautiful. I live in Denver, Colorado. Most of the time in the winter in Denver, we have blue skies, maybe some snow on the ground. It's 50 degrees, it's 40 degrees, somewhere in there. We can run around without a jacket on. I love it.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I've heard and I've noticed that for some people, the weather really plays a big role in how they feel, how well they feel. Have you come across that?
Oh, yeah. I grew up in the Central Valley of California where we had two seasons. We had fog and we had heat. And
Okay.
the fog would settle in about the first part of November. It would stay until the end of February. And I used to laugh, and I was just telling somebody about this the other day. March 1st was my favorite day of the year because on March 1st, the tulips were coming up, the sun was out, it was nice, you can lay on the grass, and everyone went bonkers because they'd been in this dark cloud for so long, and all of a sudden the sun is out and they didn't know what to do. They were insane.
I know. I've talked to somebody the other day who lives in Italy,
Mhm.
and we were talking in the morning, and I'm like, "Hi, how you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah. Oh my gosh, what happened? What happened?" And he's like, "Well, really everything's good, but it's cloudy today." So,
Mm.
a lot of people are very, very sensitive. Hi there. Thank you for joining us from the Philippines.
Oh,
Um,
yay.
all right, Denise,
Yes.
before I jump into some of my questions and all of that, I just took the liberty of describing you as a revolutionary. That is not your term.
No,
That's
actually, I do use it. I do. Or a visionary.
Yes, you're a visionary. And tell the audience, for those of you who have not met you, who are coming on, because, like we know, in some places it's very early, tell them, please, a little bit about you. Just a couple of things that you think they might need to know.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, uh, uh, Obviously, you can see behind me the words "you define wellness." I'm not a wellness professional. I am a reformed insurance agent. That's been my career for 30 some odd years. And to know about me is that I got fed up with the system and disgusted, nauseated, and decided to do something about it, about changing it.
Okay. And that's very precise and to the point. However, let me ask you, you decided to change it.
Yeah.
So, hmm, what was your experience like that made you frustrated, that made you go, I need to make a change here. This is not working. What was it that triggered you in psychological terminology?
I was, as I said, I call myself a reformed insurance agent. And in the United States, healthcare insurance, medical insurance, it's just a broken system. And I was an executive in it, a national sales director. I'd done just about everything in the industry. And I knew that I had no more impact I could give. I
Mhm.
just couldn't play the game anymore. I didn't believe in what I was doing. And so I left abruptly. Just decided to save my soul, I had to leave and leave right that minute. I just could not
Mhm.
continue anymore. And quite frankly, I didn't know what I was going to do. For me, when I meditate when I'm stressed out, and I'm not going to say I'm a master meditator because I own the book Meditation for Dummies. But
Okay.
when you're at the bottom of the barrel and you don't know what to do, you go within, you pray, whatever it is that you have to do. And I literally heard the words one day, you know what you need to do, Denise. You've got the skills and experience, the resources, you know how to change things. Go do it.
Mm.
And it was to listen to the thousands of people I'd met with over a couple of decades and their complaint that their employee benefit packages did not support their goal to live a happy, healthy, and thriving life. Tax benefits do not support wellness. The tax code does not support wellness. And it was, we, I set out to do something I didn't know what I was doing. And that I knew I could create an employee benefit program. I knew how to do that. I didn't know what it was. And quite frankly, it was the health and wellness professionals of the world who guided me to where we are today, with
Hmm.
them sharing what their clients wanted, what they wanted. So I listened to the people receiving care and I listened to the people who give care as to
Mhm.
what is the system that we should have. And that's how we came about.
Okay. And now you have a company
Yeah.
which is growing and growing and growing. And full disclosure, I'm part of that company. I'm like one of the providers. Okay. I'm not helping with everything that Denise is creating. I'm just like in there watching and growing and loving what I see. In other words, I'm also benefiting from all the work that you do. So you define wellness.
Yeah.
You've listened, you've heard. How did you come up with that name? What, because a lot of people say, well, my doctor tells me what my wellness is. I'm overweight, I'm this, I'm that. So how did you come up with that?
You want the true answer, or you want the one that sounds good?
No, I want the true answer, and then we do the one that
Okay.
sounds good.
So the true answer is I launched this company very fast, literally in the month of December 2015. The concept to implementation went in 1 month. And I
Wow.
already had a shell company, a dormant company
Mhm.
called Jumpstart to Success. And we just literally rebranded it so we could launch quickly. And we were Jumpstart to Success Wellness Program. Well, we had a website. It was going well. I loved it. And it crashed with success. It literally crashed. It couldn't handle the volume of stuff coming through. And so I needed to go get a new website to build one.
Okay.
And I decided that our name was way too long for the URWW. And I was like, okay, I got to come up with something shorter. And literally on a fly, I don't know where it came from, divinely guided, call it what you will. I just thought, hey, let's just call it youdefinewellness.com. And so many people responded to that, we changed our company name. So that's the true
Hmm.
story.
No, and I love it because you're talking about rebranding. And
Hmm.
for those of us who are in business, and those of us who are watching who are startups in business long time, from time to time we rebrand, we
Yep.
re-niche. And so it's a normal process. But I love your story because you successfully drove one website to close down. That's
Well,
really awesome.
we really didn't have anything going on from the public face on
Yeah.
what we had before. So it was easy to do the rebranding. We didn't have customers and clients that we needed to retrain who we were. The health and wellness professionals in our network, they adjusted to it very quickly. In fact, they embraced the name. And it really we came to understand that it was the philosophy of our company is that because we have 130 modalities at last count in our network, meaning different types of services. I didn't know there were 130 different types when I started out. And the
130
reason,
what?
yeah, yeah, 130 modalities to different types of services. So fitness, acupuncture, Akashic record reading, counseling, nutrition, whatever it may be. Those are all different
Mhm.
modalities. And uh, we it just kind of evolved that this was our philosophy, that it's not for us. We all know what it means to live a healthy life, right? Take your daily meds. Let's get movement and eat healthy, drink your water, don't put things in your body you shouldn't, and get your sleep. We all know that.
Mhm.
And if we all
Mhm.
know that, then why are there so many of us that are unhealthy?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
the whole premise behind our company was, we're going to meet you where you're at, and we're going
Mhm.
to support you in what reduces your stress level. And if that's some new age thought that most wellness professionals would, turn their nose up at, so be it. We're going to encourage you to continue doing what's working for you for reducing your stress, while introducing you to other things that could help supplement that.
Awesome. Because you just led me perfectly, and we did not talk about this
We
before,
didn't.
to showing an image.
Yes.
Okay. And that is the dimensions of wellness
Hmm.
that show us that there's a lot more to wellness than the physical body. I mean, you just mentioned,
Yeah.
modalities and all of that. So clearly, the spiritual and the physical body and the emotional are on here. But you also have on here things like financial,
Hmm.
environmental, intellectual. So, can you share a little bit about what you mean and how you came up with the idea of the fact that there are 8 dimensions or more of
Yeah.
wellness?
Yeah, well, first of all, I can't take credit for the 8 dimensions. This is a philosophy, a concept that's out there. You can Google it and you can find, some people use 13, some use 12, some use three, mind, body, spirit. We settled on 8 because that seemed the most comprehensive. And, within the physical realm, it includes both fitness and nutrition. So that could have been broken out into two different things, but 8 fit on the wheel very nicely, and it's easy for us to explain. But the reason why we settled on that is that this is not just one or two things. Our bodies are not, we are not just one or two things. Everything impacts us, everything from our work life to our home life. Whether or not we have shelter, there's different degrees of it, from the very basic needs being met to the ideal needs being met. So, at the basic level for environmental is having a roof over your head. A little bit more in depth might be, are you using toxic free cleaning products? So we include all of these so that we can help people with where they're at to live the healthiest life that they want to live.
How does somebody find out what they need? I mean, you just laid out
Yeah.
maybe I'm using the wrong cleaning
Mm,
materials. Maybe there is, some kind of algae growing in my house that I'm not aware of. Maybe what's driving me insane is my neighbor playing loud music. I mean,
mhm.
there are so many things, as you said, that influence
Yeah.
us. So, how do I find out what I need to work on or what I need to check out?
That's a really big question. As we 4 years into launching our company, so in 2020, we realized that there were people signing up for our programs with the best of intentions. They would just jump in, oh, this sounds great. But then they'd get into it and they'd be overwhelmed. And so we actually pulled our products from the market in 2020 to redesign them. And the thing that we realized that was missing is the planning aspect of well being.
Hmm.
And there's three different stages of change. One is, first you learn, you have awareness, hey, yeah, I want to get into this. And most people jump straight to doing. That's
Right.
why so many people join gyms on January 1, and they're
Yes.
no longer going by the time the tulips come up, right?
Right.
So we integrated this planning aspect, and we created, with the help of I'm a reformed insurance agent. I'm not qualified for this. So I leaned on the providers in our network to help create something called an individual well-being assessment. And it asks questions in the 8 dimensions of well-being. It's a deep dive. It's not a fluffy little tool. And then we set up a program called Wellness Pathfinders. I use that word because that's what we're doing. We're helping people find their wellness path.
Hmm.
And that is a provider within our network who's highly trained in some modality within it, but also has additional training to understand how to make recommendations to people and introductions to others in our network to support them in their areas of
Mhm.
need. So this is an integral part of our new employee benefit plan that we just launched, and we're debuting actually on February 17th. But it's something we do have available to the individual who says, yeah, I want to dive into this, take the assessment, and have a one-on-one consultation with someone who can look at that assessment and say, okay, these are the areas that I'm seeing may be an issue. How high of a priority are they for you? And let's set a plan in place to help you with those particular areas.
Okay. So, how do I get someone to really understand that the advice that they're receiving is on point? And I'm asking that because we,
Yeah.
in the coaching industry, we talk about, are you coachable? And there are people, of course, that when they get the assessment back and they're talking
Mhm.
to a wellness pathfinder, and the wellness pathfinder is like, well, I would suggest you do A, B, C.
Mhm.
And then the individual is like, nope, nope.
Mhm.
What do we do?
Well, it all boils down to free will. All we can do is show them and work with them on the areas that they need help in.
Hmm.
We haven't had anyone take the assessment that says, nope, I'm not going to do that. Nope, I'm not going to do that. There is something for everyone in our network. And if they're taking the assessment, they're already making a step towards, I want to make a change.
Hmm.
So our goal is to introduce them to someone who is in alignment with them. And almost every single person on our network will give a free initial consultation. So we'll say, why don't you contact Dr. Natalie as an example and see if there's a fit for you, because we don't necessarily know. We know the providers. We have really good idea and discernment as to who might work well with others, but I just don't know for a fact. And if
Right.
somebody just flat out says, no, I'm not going to do it, you know what? That's their choice.
Okay. Awesome. And before I ask another question, we have a question here from the audience. How are you celebrating the wins in your health?
Oh, in my own health, or how are we celebrating the wins in an individual's health? It's two different things. Actually, it's not two different things. It's the same thing. In terms of the clients in our network celebrating the wins in their health, I would hope that when they're working with the Wellness Pathfinder, that they are actually incorporating that as to part of it. Is okay, when you have a win, how are you going to celebrate it? Our
Hmm.
Pathfinders are really good at making sure that that's reinforcing the steps that they're taking. In terms of as a company wide, we don't necessarily celebrate it. We do provide opportunities for them to come and uh, help celebrate it by attending one of our events. We have wellness fairs that we do. We have events all the time going on. We would love to hear about people's wins so that we can help celebrate it with them.
Absolutely. And you have events all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you back just maybe 3 months,
Okay.
maybe 3 months. I remember about maybe 4 months ago. I'm a historian, but I don't keep track of time. Um, I remember you were having shows, you were having meetings on Facebook. They were always live. Fridays it was like
Mhm.
networking, and I believe Thursdays it was highlighting one of the providers, and people on Facebook and, of course, the other social media outlets could come in and watch that. And you recorded all of those, you put them in the video library. Right now, that is not happening.
Mhm.
Why is that?
We have other priorities and things shift.
Mhm.
And sometimes things just run their course. So we do have live shows that are going on, and we actually have some that we're working on right now that we're debuting. As an example, later this morning, we're doing something called Conversations in the Workplace. We do it on the second Tuesday of every month. It's really designed for human resource professionals and people who want to acquire new skills on dealing with their coworkers
Mhm.
and making it a happier work environment, someplace where you want to be. So that's one show that we do on a regular basis. We also have another one that's actually happening today as well. We do it every single Tuesday called Toxin Tuesday Talk Show. and it is about home environment and learning about specifically meth contamination in the home and the impact on it and one's health. And we do that in conjunction with one of our providers. We have some that are in the works that I can't debut yet and talk about because we're still fine tuning them, but we have some more providers that are doing it. I just encourage people to go to our Facebook page at You Define Wellness. Just search for You Define Wellness. You'll find our Facebook page. We have our events there. We also post them on LinkedIn and Alignable. But we have something going on pretty much every single week. But part of it was also, it's just really tiring sometimes to do them. Every Wednesday we had the Wellness Wednesday Lunch Bunch, and it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed doing it. You were on some of them with us, and it just seemed to run its course, and we'll bring them back as necessary. But I think with us, you just need to keep checking because you never know where we might be going.
Absolutely. And I want to point out to everybody, I'm trying to show this right now, that You Define Wellness on Facebook, you actually have the letter U. So you don't spell out you, but you have the letter U. And when you look there are a number of events. And what I personally love about them is that you can just tune in, and I know you're monitoring who's there and ask questions, and right away, there are answers given about wellness and all the different ideas. I always love the conversations because the communication in the workplace, I think, can be extremely toxic. And sort of like filter into your body and your skin, and it's like, I don't want to go there. So that is really, really important for everybody who's listening right now, who's here. Some people have already said, I've learned a lot. So thank you for that, Mon Anthony, and also Dennis. I'm glad that you're learning something. I want to draw your attention right now to an upcoming event. And of course, I'm going to try and put this image on here. There we go. Okay. Learn, plan, do it. What kind of event is it? And then I'm going to ask about the workplace issue.
Sure. So Learn It, Plan It, Do It is actually the name of our new employee benefit plan that has launched. And every event that we are doing, the new stuff is all in alignment with that philosophy of those 3 stages of change that I mentioned before. You have to learn things, then you have to plan things, then you have to do things. And we have a health and wellness event happening February 17th and 18th. So it's next week. Oh my gosh. And it's along this philosophy. So each one of the days is broken out into a learning component, a planning component, and a doing component. And the first day, February 17th, it's only 2 hours long, and it's free, and it's focusing on workplace wellness. And our keynote speaker for the learning portion is a woman by the name of Donna Cutting. Donna is an incredible author, and she has a book coming out in April called Employees First. And it is for human resource professionals. We've been working on this for a long time. She interviewed me back in September of 2020, and it's just now coming out. And the chapter on workplace wellness is all about You Define Wellness. So, of course, we invited her to come and do an incredible presentation on the philosophy of employees first. And then we're going to move into a planning session about how important it is to plan your workplace wellness program, not just slap something together. And then we go into an hour of what we call virtual wellness experiences. This is the do it component, where attendees can go into a breakout room with a provider from our network and actually get an experience, a demonstration. It's not a lecture, it's not a talk, it's learn more about that particular modality. So that's Thursday the 17th. Friday the 18th is our True Wellness Fair. It's open to the public. It is $15. If for any reason you need a scholarship to it, please drop me a note at our Facebook page or go to our website and contact us. And we have some scholarships available. It's only $15, but if that is an issue, and I get it, just no questions asked, it's there. But we have it again broken out into 3 components. Learning it, we have 3 talks that will be going on. They're dynamic, they're amazing speakers, and I'm just so excited to have them. And then we will have a planning it where we'll talk about that individual well-being assessment. And we'll talk with a couple of our wellness pathfinders. And then we go into an hour and a half of those virtual wellness experience breakout rooms where you can visit a number of different rooms and learn all kinds of amazing things. I don't even have them in front of me, but I'm going to ask you to go to our website, and on the homepage, you'll find the Process of Change wellness event, and go look at the agenda.
Absolutely. So, what I love about that is that there are parts that are free. There
Mhm.
are parts where you're saying, we understand if you need some help, but the experiences
Yeah.
and the variety. You've mentioned over 130 modalities in your network.
Mhm.
You've mentioned the myriad of wellness dimensions or areas. It's like the wheel of life that we use in coaching, of course. So, when this event comes, what do you hope to be the effect of this event? And I'm going to ask day by day because they differ a little bit.
Mhm.
So on day one, what do you hope will be the impact or the effect of that event?
I hope that those who come who are corporate decision makers, whether it be the human resource professional, the insurance agent, the business owner, come and recognize that they could better serve their employees through a comprehensive wellness approach. And some of them are like, oh, wait a second, that you're just talking about me spending money. No, it actually comes back to you tenfold. Because when you have happy, healthy, and thriving employees, clients want to come back and do more business with you. You have less turnover of your staff. There are so many different factors that will help your bottom line profits. And just saying, hey, we're going to have a smoothie day and call that wellness, that's not wellness. Um, we can easily incorporate a variety of things. And we have tools on our website that are free for employers to use. So we want to introduce them to those resources. So that's the takeaway, is that I hope they come away with some wonderful things. For Friday,
Yes, Friday, the other day.
yeah, this is just really to support people on their wellness journey and to introduce you to some new ideas. If you've ever thought about, hey, I'd really like to try that, but you don't want to go spend any money for it and, find out you don't like it, this is a great way to come learn about it. But more importantly, get to know one of the professionals in who does that type of modality. Let's say it's life coaching, and ask your questions of them, but get a feel for them before you buy. So, it's kind of like taking a car out for a test drive. That's what the virtual wellness experience is. And it's a lot of fun. The time flies by. People just come out of the rooms and they're like, oh my gosh, that went by way too fast. And then they go jump in another room and they have a lot of fun with it. We started doing them in 2020 to support people during the pandemic. We did them for almost 2 months. It kind of got a little burnout on it. So we bring it back for special occasions, and that's what this is.
And I think it's a great idea. I love the title of it
Yeah.
because very often, and I think I was talking about that maybe 2 days ago on a different kind of event. Yeah, it was Sunday. Yes. Because what I have noticed is that there are a lot of events, obviously, especially because of the pandemic, whether you believe in it or not, but there's something going on where we all got stuck at home. So there are a lot of events. And even before that, people love going to events. They get inspired. They love it. They go home and then it's like, okay, I have my booklet here with all my notes. What do I do? And so, where you're talking about plan it,
Yep.
everybody knows I'm a big proponent of action steps at the end of any event. So, the fact that you're saying, and then let's sit down and plan it, I
Mhm.
think is really, really important.
It is important. I've done the same thing. I know people who go from workshop to workshop to workshop looking for the solutions in their life, and they pay a lot of money to go to those workshops. And there's not all the free stuff that's on the internet, and there's a lot of good free stuff, but they'll pay big money to go to a weekend retreat to get
Mhm.
all jazzed up. And years ago, I read something, I can't remember the statistic or the citation or anything, but within a month after leaving a meeting, you might retain maybe 11%.
Yes.
That's not a lot. So you've got to have the plan in place, to affect the changes you want, or else it just kind of fades away. Think of diets. You get excited, you lose a whole bunch of weight, and then it's like, okay, I can start integrating things back into it. And the next thing you know, you're higher weight than what you were before you
Yes.
went on this diet. This is why diets fail. You don't have a plan for continued sustainability. And that's what we're offering at Udefine Wellness is the professionals that could help you achieve and maintain those goals.
Absolutely. And there are a couple of questions I have about the corporate component,
Yeah.
because you, of course, keep stressing that. And I think that would make that's part of what makes you so different.
Mhm.
But before we do that, we're going to take a teeny tiny break. So everybody just stick around. We will be right back.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We have earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune, number one, I want to thank the Los Angeles Tribune. I also want to point out that thank you, everybody, for being here on my show. We have a few more shows. We've got the Rex Psych Show. We've got Ignite. We've got Barry Shore. And we have more shows coming up. And Ignite is actually twice. So with different show hosts. Well, please make sure to check back, because there's always important information, not to mention the news briefs that we sometimes bring to you. Just this past weekend, for example, Mo Rock, the CEO and visionary of the Los Angeles Tribune, did provide a daily news event because, of course, of the transitioning of Bob Proctor. You may recall that Bob Proctor just recently was here with the Los Angeles Tribune at the event for the Winning Psychology with Dennis Waitley. So when news breaks, keep an eye out, because we might bring you some of the thought leaders and some of the events that are happening. Some of the events that are happening are obviously, in case you missed it, the process of change. And at the same time that the process of change is happening, there is this new big phrase out there. And maybe I was the last one to pick it up. But last Friday, I actually was talking about it on a show with some people in regards to global HR. And this new term is the big resignation.
Mm-hmm.
The big resignation is, of course, due to what happened in the last year and a half, 2 years. I forget how long it's been. How do you address that with Udefine Wellness? Because it does seem to speak, when I talk with HR managers and so forth, it seems to speak to the aspect of wellness.
I know enough to be dangerous about the Great Resignation. I've seen the keywords flying around and the philosophy, and there's been a lot of talks. And I know the talk that you were talking about last Friday, I was supposed to be there myself, but I think I could have learned a few things from it. Let's look at that keyword in it, and that is resignation. And the people who are leaving the traditional workforce, starting out on their own, whatever it may be, the shifting that's going on with people moving and shifting jobs. If an employee, here's what we learned during the pandemic. Number one, we can work from home. So many of us can work from home. There's obviously some occupations you can't, but if we are working on a computer at all, we can probably work from home. There are those who want to be in the environment with other people. You know what? I've been working from home for most of my career, and I've had times where I've been in the office. And I'll tell you one thing, I prefer working from home. I don't miss people because I'm on Zoom all day long, and I'm interacting with people, and some of my best friends I've never met in person. Dr. Natalie, I've never met her in person. I can't wait for the day where we actually get to be in the same room. I'll give her a big hug. But, you know, there are some of my closest friends I've never met in person. So, that argument about we've got to be in the office for the interaction, I'm sorry, but it's bunk. That most of it is the gossip that takes place. In my own personal opinion, I'm going to get in trouble for that. I have no doubt by saying it. It's just my opinion.
It's okay.
We employees have learned that there's a different way to do things, that their life is enriched when they can work the way that they want to work. And childcare is not as much of an issue, or the crazy schedules, or not having to wear a dress because nobody knows what you're wearing from the waist down type of a thing. And, I don't think I've been out of sweats in probably a year, but nobody necessarily knows unless they're watching this video. But, employers have to support the employees. The workforce has changed. And so to answer your question about how wellness can contribute to all of this, is that by supporting employees where they're at, that's what we're all about. Workplace wellness programs do not have to take place at a job site, especially ours. Unifying Wellness's program is actually self-directed more than anything else. We do have an education component where we can do educational meetings for the employees, and we could do them by Zoom, and that's how we are doing them right now. We can do things in person. We can do virtual wellness fairs. We've been doing them for a long time. They work very well. We don't have to do it in person. So it's a program that you don't have to have that work environment. And some employers are like, well, if they're not coming into the office, then I don't need to take care of them. Oh, and you do. You do want happy customers, right? You don't want to have turnover, right? So supporting employees and saying, hey, I care about you, and I want you to determine what you need in your life. And we can accomplish that through this one company called Unifying Wellness because of the way we've structured it. So we have a unique advantage in the marketplace right now.
When it comes to the workplace, on the one hand, I agree. We've all learned that we can pretty much work from home. On the other hand, and I think this goes partially to at least two of the dimensions of wellness that you shared. What if I don't have great internet at home? What if I don't have a computer at home? What if while I'm working from home, I'm also having my kid at home because school is closed?
Yeah.
So, all of those are wellness issues, and they definitely need to be addressed.
Yeah.
You do have this specific idea, and I'm going to read out just one quick portion here, where you're saying corporate wellness doesn't have to be time-consuming, complicated, or even from a central location. So when it comes to the solutions that you try and help provide, especially to corporations, I guess the question is, how do you reach the corporations who might at this point still be a little hesitant, either because people are working from home or because none of the programs they've had so far, whether it's the Smoothie Friday, have worked? How do you address that?
Well, I'm going to guarantee that what they've done in the past probably has not worked. In fact, there's statistics show only 24% of employees will engage in the employer's workplace wellness program. So from an employer's perspective, they might say, well, then why should I even bother? Well, because other statistics show that 76% of employees are looking for their employer's help. Actually, 66% of employees are looking for their employer's help in meeting their wellness goals. They need the employer to help put in front of them the programs that are vetted that will help them with whatever it is that they're looking to do. So the employer's role is still very important. You mentioned, Natalie, something about technology. And what about these people who don't have internet and they don't have computer access? Now, those are things that we discuss with an employer is, what are the needs of your employees? What is your setup? We can't meet every need, but we can certainly educate and put the employers with resources that might be able to support them. For employees that do not have good internet access, quite frankly, it's outside of my realm of what I can probably do, other than to see if the employer's working on it. I'm assuming the employer has to have some other solutions, because if they're working from home and they have bad internet connection, that's not a job that they're going to be in for a long period of time, right? But we can't solve every single one of those problems. But our role is to really guide an employer and help them make the decisions that are best for their workplace. Now, I said 24% of employees engaged. That's the key thing that we focus on, is how to get more employees engaged in it. And we do that by tailoring the programs, the educational programs, to what appeals to the employees outside of work activities and interests, whether they're doing them or not doing them. Maybe it's just something that they've thought about. And so we can tailor an education program to support those things and help them learn about them. That alone increases engagement. If an employee doesn't have to go to a workshop on the benefits of eating kale, but they're a camper and we can bring in something about how to cook healthy in the great outdoors, they're more inclined to attend. So those are some of the things that we are doing out there.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's another question. As a former employee, and having talked to other employees, even when the company does have an employee wellness program, whatever name we're currently using for that, employee benefits program, employee wellness program, and there are different solutions that are being offered. One of the biggest ones that I know my former colleagues always talked about was the mental health, seeing a counselor.
Yeah.
And even though it was outsourced, I didn't really have to talk to my HR department to benefit from or go and see a counselor. Still, the majority of my colleagues that I talked to were worried. They were saying, well, but if I do go to counseling, somehow HR is going to know. And when HR knows that I'm seeing a counselor, HR might think I have a problem, and then I might lose my job. So even though the offers were there, they did not utilize them.
Yeah.
What's your thought on that?
Yeah, that's a big one. When we started creating You Define Wellness, we started getting registered psychotherapists joining our network. And I didn't understand it. I really didn't. I'm an insurance person. That was included as part of their health insurance plan. And I started asking them, why in the world are you wanting to sign up on our plan? Your clients probably have it with insurance. And their response surprised me, in that a huge percent of their clients, their patients, refused to allow them to bill their insurance. They were afraid of the insurance company or the employer knowing about it, so they were paying for it out of pocket. And these registered psychotherapists and other licensed professional counselors recognized that a plan like ours that provided pure confidentiality would help the individual pay for it out of their pocket. So they were all over it. They jumped on board. And I learned something new from the whole process. We do not tell an employer that Joe Smith saw a licensed professional counselor. We don't let the reports we give to them will say, yes, Joe Smith used their sessions, but we don't say what it was for. If it's a very large employer, we can say 10% of your population you used a professional in this modality. But it's a huge one, because otherwise we don't want them sitting back and saying, oh, let's guess and see who's using it and who's not. So we're very, very protective of it. But I want to say one thing also about this line. We get it confused a lot with EAPs, employee assistance plans. We are not an EAP. An EAP is reactionary. Something major has to happen in order for the benefits to take effect. You have a death in the family, you have a couple of sessions with a counselor, a grief counselor. You're in debt, you can have a couple sessions with a financial counselor. Interestingly enough, I was talking to a professional, an expert in the EAP industry, and he said that the usage rates on EAPs during the pandemic did not go up. They still hovered about 10 or 11%.
Yeah.
And it could be different than that, but this was from an expert in the industry. And so it's a really sad thing that the employers have tools in place, but employees weren't utilizing it. And I think it goes back to, they didn't want the employer to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to give a quick shout out to Stephanie, Heart and Soul Fitness and Wellness. I'm putting it up again. She's also one of the providers at You Define Wellness. Absolutely go check her out. But it is one of those things, if we're trying to help people with their wellness, and we know a lot has to do with mental health and also with the fear and the worry, the stress. What happens if? Then it's really important that the confidentiality is there.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I remember, maybe I remembered wrong, but I do believe you and I, offline and stuff, we also talked about how sometimes HR professionals are hesitant. How do we get to HR professionals? They have their systems in place. The HR professionals, just pointing this out, are not the bad guy or girls or anything.
No, they're not.
There are rules in every company. And
Mhm.
sometimes the HR professional might want to create a new program or
Mhm.
offer, weekly swimming, or create a swimming pool in the outdoor compartment of the company, or allow kindergarten, whatever it is. They may have fantastic
Mhm.
ideas, and yet there are parameters within the company.
Mhm.
So how can we deal with that? And I'm not
Yeah.
just thinking about You Define Wellness, but in general, how can we address that part where
Yeah.
the HR professional is in this, I don't know, catch
Mhm.
22 almost?
Yeah, they are in a catch-22, and actually, rarely is the human resource professional the corporate decision maker. That's going to be the person who cuts the checks or authorizes the checks, the chief financial officer, the business owner, whatever it may be. So it's typically higher up the chain. But they are the gatekeeper. They are the entree into it, and that's why we do a lot to support the human resource professionals, to show them options that they can present. Now, if their wellness program has a 24% participation rate, okay, back when I was in school a million years ago, that was a failure grade on a test, right? So they're being judged by the person who cuts the checks as or authorizes the checks that their wellness programs are failing. So there's not a lot. We've got to have them help us get into the corporate decision makers to talk about the benefits of a well-being program. We need to support them in it. And then we need to provide a stellar experience for that human resource manager to continue promoting us. That in a company, there are saboteurs, and the saboteurs are typically the middle management. If you're in middle management, I don't mean to offend you by this, but they're the ones who are frequently saying to the employees, "Oh, you don't have time to go be in that wellness program. I need you back on the line. I need you on the job over here. You don't have time to do it." And so they're sabotaging it. And we had a HVAC company where this was what was happening, and they needed the people out on the jobs, and we've had a meeting and we talked about it. And with the HVAC people, we explained to them, these line managers, supervisors, that if their people are not happy, healthy, and thriving, and they're missing work with unplanned absences or they're having turnover, they're not going to earn their bonuses because they're not going to have the people going out on the job site. So let's spend a little bit of time making sure your people are the healthiest that they can be so you can go make your bonus. And sometimes we have to explain it that way.
Hmm, interesting. It is really sometimes figuring out how to maneuver or how to walk on that tightrope.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Now,
It's a different
in all of that,
Yeah.
you just said
Yeah.
you provide a lot of, oh, did you freeze over me? Okay.
Yeah.
You provide a lot of resources on the You Define Wellness site. There
Mhm.
is an area that is education,
Yep.
and that's free for everybody. Can you share a little bit of what people can find there, especially if
Oh, yeah.
they're trying to figure out what's
Yeah.
going on with them?
So the number one thing is that we've been doing recording videos for almost 6 years now, if not longer, where we have about 200 videos in there. So there's self-education resources. We have a very large employer with about 18,000 employees worldwide who actually will locate one of the videos they want and they put it in their wellness newsletter every month to their employees. You know what? I'm okay with it. Just give us credit for it. Thank you very much. But you can use it. So there's resources there that you can use for your staff. There's resources you can use for yourself. And it's a great way to get to know some of the providers in our network. And if you find someone that really resonates with you, reach out to them. The
Mhm.
greatest resource on our website is actually the Wellness Center. It's one of the menu items across the top. The Wellness Center is your entree into all things, including the recorded videos. finding our providers' profiles in stores. Stores is the wrong word because you're not actually buying their services through our website. You're learning about them. And we have speaker sheets in there. So some of the best speakers that I've ever come across are providers in our network. And we have workplace wellness classes in there. I mean, everything is there. It is overwhelming how much is in there. I get that. Eat it like an elephant. Oh, that's a bad phrase, but just a little one bite at a time, and dive in. And when people go in and they start wandering around, they end up going down rabbit holes and spending a lot of time there. But we welcome your presence on our website.
Absolutely. And I think that's the interesting thing, because of the myriad of dimensions. You can go left, you can go right, you can see all sorts of things. And of course, for the HR professionals, they can find a speaker, they can get more information, like you said. I think that's awesome.
Let me say one thing for those finding speakers. The best way to find a speaker is actually to work with us. We will actually do the legwork. And yeah, if you want to do it yourself, website's there, have at it. But don't you have other things you want to work on instead? Let us do our job. We'd be more than happy to support you that way.
Awesome. See, it's even easier. Man,
Yes,
you just do it all. You just do it all. That's fascinating. I do want to put up Rana Lynn here as well. Wellness is a state of being in good health, because health is our wealth.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give a shout out to that. Now, we have a few minutes left, and I want to get personal.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because you said you're a reformed insurance agent, you're visionary. How do you like massages?
Okay, I'm married to a massage therapist, right?
That's exactly why I'm asking.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I could get in trouble with this answer. I am not one who likes to go and get a regular massage. They're fantastic. They're wonderful. They're healing. They're therapeutic. We have a massage room in our house. And when I need something worked on, it's, hey, honey, will ya come help me? And he does. And I would never work without a massage therapist having that I could tap into to work on those pains and aches and things that I need worked on. But I'm not, when I want a massage, I want a fluff and buff, and my husband's not a fluff and buff kind of massage therapist. So I have to go pay for those elsewhere.
Well, but of course, the reason why I was asking is because, you share your story on how you met Bill also on the website, because it is kind of interesting how things come together, and that even though you have a massage therapist at home and you can benefit from it and it's nice, it's not necessarily your path, right? So that's always fascinating. So we're coming to an end here.
Yeah.
And I know you've shared a lot. If I now give you the stage one more time all by yourself, what would you like to let the world know, individuals, the world know about the state of wellness, about defining wellness? What would you like them to walk away with, other than all the information we already have? Go ahead.
Oh, I should have been prepared for that question, Natalie, but thank you for asking it. Now, I think what I want all of you to come away with is that, we've come through a couple years of trial and tribulation, and some people have thrived through it, and a lot of people have suffered through it, and they're still suffering through it. The fact of the matter is, wherever you are at, that the most important thing is to do a check-in with yourself and find out, what's going on? What do I need? And know that there are resources out there. And before I launched You Define Wellness, I described myself as corporate USA. I didn't know that there were all these different things out there. I never paid attention to any of it. I didn't know there were life coaches that could help me find my way. I didn't know that there were, some nutrition coaches. Yeah, I probably figured it out that it was something out there, but I never really strayed away from my medical plan and traditional wellness up until just before really launching You Define Wellness. And the biggest thing is to know is that, okay, if you're questioning and you're thinking, I need something different, but I don't know what I want different. Well, you know what? There are people to help you with that. There are people who can answer your question. I don't know what I want to do. And that's the biggest takeaway, I think, from this is just to know that there are resources. We are a conduit to those resources. Literally multiple times a month, people are contacting us through our website saying, hey, here's what's going on with me. I don't know who to turn to. Who can you recommend? And if we can, we'll recommend someone. The most popular place is to go to our Facebook page and leave a comment for us. You know what we'll do? I'll actually put it on my personal Facebook page. If I don't know someone and say, hey, I've got somebody who's in search of this, who do you know? And we can provide you with referrals and recommendations that way of people that we know, trust, and like. So you're not alone. Reach out. Know that you need to make some changes in your life and that there are people to support you.
I think that is the key, the reaching out. I also want to add that that you have a process for getting providers into the network.
Yes, we do.
And that you yourself have worked or tested, many of them.
Yeah.
So what is the process? Because we always get some wellness providers here as well, some coaches and so forth in the audience. What is the process for becoming a provider? Should that be an option?
So the first step is to go to our website, youdefinewellness.com. There's a tab that says provider news. Go over there. You'll drop down. We'll show you the different levels of being in our network and the benefits of it. So step number one is for you to see if do you fit in our world. Is this something that fits in your world to be a part of us? And there is a fee involved with being a member in our network. When you apply to join, we're going to do a background check. You must be independent. MLMs are not what we want in our network. If you do other services under your own business name, you're absolutely welcome to join us, but you have to be independent. So no franchises at all. And we're going to do our background check. We're going to look and find out what your business reputation is, as disciplinary actions, stipulations, a criminal history record, things like that. So if you're ever concerned about what we're going to be doing in our background check, drop us a note and I'll tell you. So you got to apply to be a part of it. And that's the most important part for the public to know, is that we vet them. We've only had one that really ran away fast, and that's because he had a class action lawsuit against him from 24 women for inappropriate touching. But he didn't join, nor would he have been allowed to join. When he found out that we're going to do the criminal record check, he ran away. And that happens when people know that we're actually going to do a background check. So you have at least a comfort level of knowing that somebody has looked at them.
Absolutely. And I think that is important to know, because there are many choices out there of where to turn. There are many hotlines on who to call, and you can talk to anybody for an hour and so forth about whatever's on your mind. This is very different. This is much more refined and thought out. And so I think that's really important just to know for those who are seeking wellness, as well for those who are trying to provide it to a different audience. And I want to give another shout out to the audience. Thank you. Yes, thank you all. I love your comments. Yeah. Awesome. So if you wish, you can, of course, reach out to Denise. If you've missed this portion live, just go back to the Tribune's Facebook page, because all of the links are there as well. And I tried to put them in the video. You can find Denise and You Define Wellness on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on the website. Check it out, because wellness is a key component of you living happily. And as I said before, in that I believe that Denise is also a revolutionary. So I appreciate your time, Denise.
Thank you.
I want to just invite everybody again, February 17th and 18th. There is absolutely this amazing wellness fair and more. And I'm going to plug myself for a second, because guess what? I'll be there too.
Yay.
I'll be at the wellness fair. Yay. So just saying, I gave you the full disclosure earlier that I work with Denise, for her, through her, however you want to phrase it. So check us all out. Make sure you are staying well. And if you wish, next week is another Dr. Natalie show. So check that out as well. I will have a guest that Denise knows as well. And he goes by the name of Ed Cohen.
Oh,
He
yay.
this time has to be my guest and not
That's
vice
awesome.
versa.
That's awesome. I'll have
Oh,
to tune in.
awesome. Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you next week.